Walking into Casselbergh, it felt like walking into like a medieval castle almost. Like it was so big. I remember like getting lost the first time I wanted to go to the coffee machine or the toilet. I was just lost and I couldn't find Charlotte back anymore.
The location caught my attention while I was having a drink there with my grandmother. And suddenly, the idea just struck me, like, what if we could just change this room or like transform this gorgeous room into Margret's art academy. And so I reached out to the team at Casselbergh Hotel, and while they don't permit film shoots, they agreed on hearing my pitch, and they found the film's topic very intriguing and very relevant into today's world. And so I'm so grateful to them for giving us the opportunity to use their magnificent location.
Ik had nooit gedacht dat Charlotte daar de toestemming voor zou krijgen. En zeker niet voor een hotel met zo'n status, als dat een klein, gewoon hotelletje van 1000 zijn. Bij wijze van spreken, dat krijg je wel, dat lukt dat wel. Maar niet voor zo'n hotel met zo'n prestige, die een heel deel van hun hotel eigenlijk kwijt waren aan ons. Hè. Dus chapeau, ook voor die mensen.
Yeah, every little detail. It's typical for Charlotte. She sees the details in scenes, and it's so beautiful the way she's giving this attention to locations, because it really has to fit the scene. And she searched, and Casselbergh has this place perfect. So I'm very happy for Charlotte that Hotel Casselbergh said yes to give her this opportunity.
She asked me to meet at the hotel so that I can discover the hotel before the actual shooting. And I got there and I said, wait, what? Just breathtaking, a beautiful place. And again, I don't know how she's doing it, but it matches. It matches Miss Margret. This hotel is the perfect combination between the character of Margret and what she went through to get to where she is today. So, and the color, hello? Again, that is someone who is well prepared. Like Charlotte was really, really well prepared because the colors matches everything.
It was so beautiful. It was, I don't know, I've never seen anything like it.
I could believe that was Miss Margaret's school. The art department already set up everything for Margaret's class. And I was thinking to myself, like, did art already come here? Because I didn't know at that time. Or was it like that?
The mom of Charlotte also was the head of art department in the end. And she did it so professionally. It was crazy. Like communication-wise, it was like she worked like 10 years in the industry.
Charlotte coached me incredibly well because art and art for film are two totally different things. Just because something's beautiful doesn't mean you can put it on a set without a reason. We spent a lot of evenings analyzing films and series. And we paused the frames to discuss the set design and what it means to the character on screen, as a lot of elements integrate into the set design, reveal a lot of their personality and what the character is going through in their life.
Inge, Charlotte's mom, did so much for this movie, the art department. Just crazy what they achieved.
Margret's academy got a different approach than Elle's atelier. Miss Margret is so stylish, so coquette, who has an eye for luxury and is very grounded and alive. So we opted for a lot of red and orange, these earth tones, and also a lot of green and gold. So there we focused mainly on small painting materials that a private academy would use. And we were very honored to have the talented Inge Dulster craft a stunning piece of artwork that became a pivotal moment in the film.
They did a phenomenal job of transforming every scene that we walked into a location and into an environment that really felt real. I think the amount of detail they put into things, the continuity of certain props that needed to be at a particular place at a point in time, or, you know, if they needed to reset something because we were going to reset the scene, everything was dialed to a T.
The art team was incredibly dedicated and very, very meticulous in their work, and I'm just genuinely in awe of how they transformed each space. We did collaborate very closely throughout the preparation process and just ensuring we checked off every single box, and just their keen eye for detail. You know, it just added an extraordinary layer to the film, particularly in the academy, where the setup time in the morning was just extremely limited. And also I was very intentional about not taking Brienne into the academy before filming, and I made a big effort to limit our discussions and our talks about the location, because my goal was just to ensure that Brienne had the exact same experience and authentic emotions and authentic thoughts that Elle would have.
Good morning, Brienne. It was exactly what it did for Elle. When she entered, it was jaw-dropping. It was stunning. It was decorated so beautifully, and you felt Margret's character in the hangings on the wall and the colors of the room. It would just mesh perfectly with Margret's personality and what Charlotte was trying to do with this shock factor when Elle comes in and is just overwhelmed with how stunning the place is.
Everyone knew this was a very packed day. When you film a movie, you have a lot of trucks.
I recall that the day in Bruges started off with a lot of running around because some cars were parked in our booked parking spots.
A little hiccup in the morning, but luckily the police helped. Yeah, then we could get started on our day in the hotel.
We had a lot of extras, a lot of actors. In the morning we had some delay of some the crew members, which happens. There is no recipe to do such things. You just arrive, you look around and you see what needs to happen, and everyone was alert. Also the technical crew, I mean, they arrived and they immediately started their setup because they also knew okay, we need every minute we can get to get this light set up.
So the biggest challenge with this day was that we had one day to film it, and we had to be out of that room, a particular room at a particular point in time, and there were so many scenes to shoot. So the biggest thing was, how are we going to light this, and how are we going to move the camera in a way that's efficient? So I knew that I wanted a light from the windows, but we didn't have the proper budget to be able to bring the big lights in to make it a consistent look. So Patrick, the gaffer, came up with a solution of putting these light tiles and lining them up against the windows, which essentially means you don't see out the windows anymore. It completely blacks it out, but what it does is it has a consistent soft light throughout the entire day. So you can walk in that room at 9 in the morning, and you can walk in that room at 9 at night, and the lighting will not change because of the light tiles. And having the window shears in front of it added an extra level of softness and a way for us to kind of block the individual pixels that you might see from the light tiles. But that in and of itself helped save us almost hours of time adjusting light to make sure that we were being consistent.
We already started in the bathroom in another place of Casselbergh to give lights all the space they needed to do their setup.
Action.
In the hotel we had 2 locations, and they were both totally the different way in the hotel. So location-wise it's a bit difficult, but everyone knew what was possible, because you're still in like a working hotel in the middle of Bruges, so you have a lot of tourists. They don't know what's going on, but I think we made it work perfectly.
We wanted to be minimal with the amount of stuff that we had inside. So it was also just a matter of being prepared on the scout and looking at every shot that we were going to get, talking through it with Patrick and Steven and being like, okay, the camera's going to be here. The lighting I need is X, Y, and Z. So I came up with a lighting plan. I have a bunch of diagrams that I shared with them. It was really important for us to be on top of their game, to be able to give the actors enough time to actually do their performances because of how tight it was. You know, we didn't want to take up all the time for setup. We wanted to be as quick as possible. And part of that was also pitching the dolly and having the camera live on the dolly, the pedestal dolly, the entire time. Part of my job as a DP is to provide solutions to things that may help us save time, but also provide the best product in terms of the cinematography. I need maybe something overhead right here. Move this out.
You mean a light or something?
I think so, yeah. Maybe back out. Maybe the balloon.
Everybody was so friendly and happy. I think there were a lot of stress, but we cannot feel it because I think Charlotte and her team, they tried everything possible, everything in their power to make us actors and technicians to be like really, it's going to be okay. So it was like a nice place to work. And the people also, that's really important to have like people who are like relaxed, enjoying themselves and professional. And everybody was really professional.
Does that work with George?
Yeah.
You think? Okay.
Yeah. Working with Charlotte, I think, was a unique experience for me working with a director because she was one of the first directors that I noticed that didn't necessarily have a very strongly opinionated view on the lighting or the composition while we were shooting. I think because of how well we prepped. I think she trusted me a lot, and I think I felt that she trusted me a lot. She was so involved and so dialed in with the actors and the performance that I felt a lot of freedom, and I felt a lot of creative freedom and opportunity to kind of express myself as a cinematographer. And, you know, we had so many conversations about composition. We saw what the compositions were going to look like in Artemis. I explained what the lighting was going to look like. We talked about references in paintings and movies. And I think that once we got onto set, she didn't have to think twice about what it was going to look like. I think she really trusted me to make it happen, and that allowed her to work seamlessly with the actors. So when I was set up and I was ready to go to bring the actors in, the actors were fully prepared and briefed with Charlotte to be able to actually deliver their performance well.
One of my favorite things in the world is collaborating with actors and just finding that sweet spot through experimentation. And so to facilitate this, I prepare as much as possible with the crew and the entire team before shooting, ensuring that we're all aligned when we arrive on set, which allows me then just to concentrate most of my energy on the actors' performances. I'm incredibly grateful for Carlo's understanding of my process and how I like to work, and I feel like we built this very strong mutual trust throughout the production.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have a two-shot.
It is.
Allergies. How do you say allergies?
Allergies. Being given this creative space just fosters a sense of inner freedom and personal flow that I feel that just adds to the collective. And additionally, the way that I just approach the choosing of the frames, it basically always comes from my editing background. So I always have the editing process in mind. And so it was a big pleasure just to collaborate with someone who shares that perspective and also approach in that decision-making process.
It's great to see all those people coming together and trying to make something happen. And so I met Carlos, who's coming from New Jersey, and Chris, his first assistant. Also the other actors from the Netherlands, Korea, Congo, you know what I mean? Again, this great, good energy. It was really a positive shooting, actually.
This project went very big. Like, I didn't expect it to be this big, but it went big with a very international crew, with very professional communication.
This international team, it was really, for me, impressive to see how Charlotte did find all those people. Where the hell did she find them? It's like they really are lifting each other up. And it was, for me, like enjoying to see this complete team coming together from all parts of the world. And Charlotte is so young, and she's making a movie with an international team, and the vibe of the on the set, it was also this energy of a very professional movie scene set, like she has done it for years. So it's crazy that she just brought those people together. And I love it when cultures come together, because people have their own personalities and there was respect for each other. We were totally different, but we were one family. And you could feel that there was not one person not belonging here on this movie. It was really a family brought together.
And I feel like it's Charlotte's strength to put people together from different nationalities and still have the perfect people on the right spot.
Working with an international crew and cast was, well, for me, perfect, because I'm an international, and working in, Europe as someone who is not European always feels a bit lonely. I think that's also why this film is gonna really have something more, because it's not just one looking glass, one idea, one concept, one type of artist. It's a lot of artists coming together, a lot of crew and production coming together from different backgrounds, and this mixing pot and creating something also for international audiences. The day of shooting was a lot. There was a lot of featured extras, and it was, the most people on set we had. We also had people reading other lines. We had a lot of dialogue that was very heavy, but also light dialogue that had to be conversational and create, a setting for Margret's atelier. She did a beautiful job presenting her lines, and the featured extras also created a space of these students in an art academy.
Mrs. Margret is a really colorful character, and the way she dresses represents that colorfulness.
She was just Miss Margret. Miss Margret is really stylish. It fits, and the earring she was carrying, her outfit, she was perfect fit with the location, the colors, the gold, the accents. It was like she was one with the location. When I saw Mrs. Margret, it was like, she lives here. This is her home. Like, this is everything she is. Like, that's her daily life. It's just, it was so, I believed in what I saw. And I think that's really something to say, wow.
Berthe is a tour de force. She really brought an authentic depth to Mrs. Margret, and collaborating with her on set was an absolute joy.
The same way as Brienne is Elle to me, Berthe is Miss Margret. It's so fitting. She took her job so seriously, like she was in her character, and she was like stepping into big shoes. There were big shoes to fill. Like in the script, Miss Margret is one hell of a lady, and Berthe did that perfectly.
Do you want me to say something?
Just act cool, yes.
Just like act cool.
Yeah.
Am I not cool enough?
Berthe is amazing. She's very enthusiastic and she fits the role of Mrs. Margret very well. She's also a power woman. When she walks in the room, also without the makeup, without the dress, everything, Berthe is also there. Same with Mrs. Margret. It's just, she was perfect for the role. I just got a glimpse of her and immediately thought, she's the right one for Miss Margret. She's just such a warm person, such a lovely person, and interested in everything you do.
I think Berthe as Miss Margret was a amazing experience, being able to lend her and see her in frame. She has such like a powerful presence that when she steps in front of the camera, it just radiates confidence, and I think her ability to embody that character as Miss Margret was perfect. I don't think there could have been anyone better for Miss Margret.
You have that amazing bond with almost everybody, actually, and you feel good in your body, in your mind, like mentally, physically, spiritually. I felt good. So it was the perfect environment, and that first day was just great, and you just cannot wait to go to the second day. You don't want it to stop. Actually, just want to. Can we just keep rolling for 10 more days? And the fact also that the movie was shot in different places, in Belgium, in the Netherlands, in France. So it adds something to the mood, to the general atmosphere. Everything was just smooth. So it was a first great shooting day.
I think we managed it very well, and I think we made the right choices along the way. That day there was no time to make wrong decisions at the wrong time.
It was an incredibly hectic day, and I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to the entire cast and the entire crew for their immense passion and dedication. And also, I want to give a big shout out to everybody who just came to help in the location department, whose support even allowed me some time to speak with journalists in between shooting. But shooting at the Grand Hotel Casselbergh was a wonderful experience, and I am truly, truly grateful for their unwavering support.
I think we made the best of it. And again, for me, there were friends, family of Charlotte that's never been on a movie set. And they were just there at the hotel that morning, and they just asked me, how can we help? Just wanting to be there to help Charlotte bring this project of hers to life is so amazing. And thanks to them, and thanks to the whole crew and cast, I think we had a great day.
There's a helicopter in a short film. Who does that?
Unlike anything I've ever done before.
This is real. This is going to happen.
Charlotte is that she's like, how epic can we make this?
Charlotte and Carlo very much knew what they wanted.
They just had to say one word and it knew what it meant. He was on the phone the whole time with the guy, like shouting at him and making sure everything was on the exact time. We were all like, we have to get this job done.